Hi there, students. I'm XS. That's little x, little s, which stands for extra sweet, because that's what I am. I'm a Puppy-sensei, and I make Japanese language lessons to help you level up your abilities. Students, as you may or may not know, lately I've been going through a little bit of a hard time. 2025 has not started off well for me, and so I was thinking about it, and I was wondering what I should do. On one hand, I could continue to feel a little bit sad in my heart, and maybe that gets reflected in the content that I make. I've always believed very strongly that you deserve the best from me. You deserve all of my effort. Actually, if I'm telling the truth, sometimes maybe I try too hard to get things right and to get things perfect. For instance, some of my streams might actually benefit from me shutting up every now and again, and I don't know. I just heckin' really want to do a good job, so I occasionally feel like I have to fill up every moment of time with my silly little voice. I honestly try very hard to bring you good content. I always want to teach you at the highest level, entertain you at the highest level, and most importantly, show you love at the highest level. Because I believe that it's through our ability to show love that we rise above the negative forces that might cause us to feel down or depressed. I always want you to know how proud I am of you. But the reality is that I'm only a puppy. And like anyone else, I have good days and I have bad days. Some days are worse than others, and that means that sometimes my content, whether that's my long form lessons, my streaming, my words of the day, even my individual private lessons, I need to learn to accept that sometimes that content is going to be subpar. Maybe subpar isn't really the right word. Like, I know my first few videos had a lot of audio problems, and they were definitely subpar. But that's because I didn't know what I was doing yet. These days, I look back at my early content, and honestly, I'm amazed by how far I've come. I mean, think about it. In less than a year as a content creator, I have become a founding streamer for Irium, a VTuber exclusive streaming app that has one of the biggest and most visible streaming followings in Japan. I've gotten to start my own Pathfinder series, which means I get to follow in the footsteps of people like Troy LaValle and Brennan Lee Mulligan, who are content creators that have had a profound impact on my life. Oh my gosh, I've gotten to work on a video with Joe Cat, one of my literal inspirations in life, and an artist that I've been a passionate fan of for years. Like, that's amazing. And my journey is only beginning. Actually, if I do have one current regret about my content, it's probably attempting to remaster my early lessons. Yes, I know they were very difficult to listen to, but I actually really appreciate that students are able to see how far I've come as a content creator, because that gives you, the student, the chance to model your improvement in your studies based on my improvement as a VTuber. So, it's not really that anything I've done lately has been subpar. Rather, maybe some of my content lately has lacked in heart and positivity because I just haven't felt the best. So today, I want to take a moment to talk to you about what's going on with me, and also, I'd like to empower you a little bit today. I want to encourage you to engage in actions and activities that might help you through the same kinds of darkness that I'm currently facing. We have to be strong together. We have to bond ourselves to one another. We have to form the glue that allows us to rise above this dark era. Now, I want you to understand, this is not the kind of content that I usually make. In fact, I wasn't even planning on making this video. It's just been on my heart lately, and I really wanted to take a moment to address some things that I feel I need to talk about. I guess in the end, for whatever reason, I've gotten myself a platform, and maybe I can and should use that platform to do a little bit of good. Allow me first to talk briefly about my own story a little bit, and as I do, I'll explain just the tiniest little bit about the things that have been keeping me kind of down a little. Can you be emotionally under the weather? Because that's certainly how I feel. As hard as I do try to stay positive, things just kind of feel gloomy and dark, and I almost feel as though I'm under a constant personal rain cloud. As many of you know, I'm trans. I'm a trans girl. I won't go into too much detail other than to say that I knew a female existence was the only one that made any sense to me by the time I could put the words together to say that. So literally, some of my very first cogent thoughts were thoughts like, I'm a girl. I like skirts. I like pink. I like makeup. I closely identify with female characters in fiction. I consider myself a listener, a healer. I played with dolls as a child. And maybe most importantly, I strongly empathize with the struggle that many women have to contend with as we walk through life. I didn't start transitioning until I was old enough to make that decision on my own. And I need you to understand this. No one is surgically transitioning children. It doesn't happen. It's a lie. I tried with all my might to get everything done that I needed to do to transition. And even after making that decision, it took me years and years and years and tens of thousands of dollars after I was legally allowed to transition. It was something that I wanted more than anything in the world, and I had to fight tooth and nail, try, work, put in the effort so that I could get that done. The lie that children are being transitioned against their will is just that. It's a lie. It's a lie being told by people who would prefer that people like me did not exist. It's hurtful. It's awful. It's cruel. And it's evil. I'm going to come back to this point later. The thing about me is, I've never actually been a trans content creator. Let me briefly explain what I mean. If you don't know, I got my start on this whole content creation journey in July of last year. It happened like this. See, I'm a professional Japanese translator. I have a full-time job where I translate and interpret Japanese to English and English to Japanese. And before that, I was a teacher. Before I ever got started making all of this content, I used to get people all the time asking me if I would be willing to teach Japanese to them. They really wanted to learn, and they knew that I spoke it, and they thought maybe I could help them. I would get messages here and there, people in the real world, people who would hear about me, people online. They would ask me to help them learn Japanese. Those are my two great passions in life: teaching and the Japanese language. I'm obsessed with education. I have always been an academia nerd, and the chance to tutor someone directly in Japanese was always something that I was really, really delighted to do. It brought me a lot of joy. But what would happen time and time and time again, I would have students request my services, request my lessons. I would set aside time to meet them. I would take the time out of my schedule to travel somewhere so that we could sit down and talk in public for everyone's safety. I would prepare lesson plans for them. I would design activities. I would stress about making sure that I was covering good material, helpful material. I would worry about whether or not I was going to teach them the things that they wanted to know, all because, I care. I want my students to learn because I'm enthusiastic about helping people. I love being helpful. I love people. I love being social. And I would do all of this work, and what would happen? Every time. Every single time. They wouldn't show up to our first lesson. They would ghost me. They would lose my number. And I get it. Everybody wants to learn a new language. Everybody wants to learn a new skill. Everyone would love to learn something new, but rarely is someone actually willing to put in the time to do it, let alone actually pay a teacher out of pocket to teach them. I think my rates are relatively competitive. If anything, I think my rates are probably too low, but I understand that not everybody has the money to do it. And a lot of times, people just back out at the last minute. They don't think about the impact that that has on me. Well, that happened several dozen times, and as you can imagine, it discouraged me greatly. I started to wonder if I was doing something wrong. And finally, I threw up my hands after that happened again in June of last year. And I said, I've done all of this work to prepare lessons for people. I'm I'm just going to publish them online. And that way the next time somebody asks me to teach them Japanese, I can just be like, "Look, my lessons are online. I hope it helps you." To be honest, I did not know what I was getting myself into at all. I hired an artist to make a model for me. I became a VTuber, and I stepped into this world massively unprepared for what I was getting myself into. I still don't know. Social media, multi streaming, analytics, AAA games. Before I became a VTuber, I hadn't really played almost any video games my whole life. A couple here or there, like Minecraft, but I'd been too busy with my nose buried in books. 12th century Japanese literature was and still is my jam. So I'm going to take a moment here to really pat myself on the back a bit. As much as I really do give myself a hard time, I've come a long way in less than a year. And that's pretty amazing. Unfortunately, at the start of this year, things have started to take a bit of a downturn for me personally, and I've spent the last couple months in a little bit of a tailspin. To the best of my ability, I'm going to breeze through some of these negative factors, and then I'm going to try my best to fill the room with light again so that we can try to consider different ways that we might be able to turn things around and bring some positivity back into our lives together. As I said before, I do not consider myself to be a trans content creator. I consider myself to be a content creator who just happens to be trans. Now, that's not any shade whatsoever against trans content creators. But for me personally, being a trans girl isn't the forefront of my life. It's something that I hardly think about because, from my perspective, the way I move through the world, I just think of myself as a woman. I know trans people in real life who feel like they're called to kind of be on the front lines, to be engaged in activities daily for the advancement of social welfare. They're doing everything in their power to make the lives of trans people, of queer people, and of all marginalized people better. Those people are bright and inspirational heroes to me. They are like literal knights in shining armor. As someone told me recently, even though I may not know it, there are people right now in this very moment who are fighting with all their strength for me personally, so that I might have a better life. Likewise, there are also content creators out there. I'm gonna name drop Nyada here because she's someone that I really, really admire. Creators like Nyada are fighting like armored warriors against the injustice and the cruelty that has been thrust on trans people with no reasoning behind it whatsoever. She may not know how much I appreciate the work that she does on my behalf, but I see it. I see how trans content creators fight. I see how they engage in argumentation, often completely futile argumentation, against hateful people who have been fooled into thinking that somehow trans people, of all people, are some kind of harm to public good, when really, we're just people. We're just people. I've never really felt as though I have the strength to be a constant social advocate. In real life, I'm not a tank. I'm a support character. I'm back here doing my thing on the back line, trying to do my very best to offer healing and send out positive vibes to the universe in the hope that maybe one day we don't need to work together to take down raid bosses anymore because we can all be friends or something. I'm naive. I'm a pacifist. And I'm pretty anxious most of the time. But my bravery isn't in going toe to toe with people who see me as lesser, or with people who see me as a problem, or with people who see me as a symptom of some great societal breakdown. My bravery is in being exactly who I am. My existence is resistance, and it always will be. I will never back down. If I have to admit that I'm brave, then I'm going to admit that I'm brave because I'm willing to be myself, in spite of these people constantly telling me that I shouldn't be, that I can't be, that they don't want me to be, that they don't want me to be at all, that they would prefer that I didn't exist. And that's the problem with this rhetoric. It empowers people to believe that people like me, people who are leading their lives just a little bit differently, should be erased. And erased is just a comfortable word for killed. So no, I'm not a trans content creator. I'm a woman. I'm a translator. I'm a VTuber. And I'm a teacher. And I just so happen to be trans. Being trans, for me, is just a secondary quality to the other things that I am. And I find it so much more important to do the things that I do during this very, very short time that I have on this blue planet. I want to teach. I want to show love. I want to learn languages. I want to help people. I want to help people more than anything in the world. Now, if I'm being honest, I think I'm going to have to go off-brand briefly here. If you know me very well at all, you know that when I'm making content, I always try very hard to be non-judgmental and unbiased as much as I possibly can. I think sometimes my beliefs and my feelings show through. But I consider myself to be a creature of love, and I have always said that so long as you aren't hurting anyone in my community, you are welcome. Okay? You are welcome within my community. I encourage people with different viewpoints to interact with me. I'm dynamic. I find myself to be someone who is willing to change my mind, willing to confront the reality that I might not have all of the answers, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being wrong, and I genuinely appreciate it when someone has the courage of conviction to correct me on any subject, be it Japanese, linguistics, content creation in general, and yes, even politics. I admit that I'm fallible. I'm not perfect, and I have never claimed to be. But as much as I'm willing to listen, as much as I'm willing to have an open debate with people, as much as I'm welcoming to people with other viewpoints, and I'm happy to have them around me, as hard as I have tried to create a safe space where anyone can feel welcomed, can feel as though they are empowered to speak openly about their notions about the world, I need to address some things that are, from my viewpoint, unacceptable. And unfortunately, that's going to mean calling attention to the elephant in the room. In the past few years, I have seen anti-trans rhetoric and anti-trans legislation on the rise with a veracity that is incomprehensible to me. Banning trans people from athletics, banning trans people from being able to use the bathrooms, banning trans people from getting access to their life-saving medications, banning surgical transition. banning trans people from the English lexicon. And now, the most egregious, banning trans people from having their lived gender be legally recognized on federal documents. It's erasure. It's cruel. It's evil. Students, my passport is going to expire this month. For almost half my life, I have been living legally as a woman, hurting no one, just going about my life in the skin that was meant for me, being myself. I've gone to interviews. I've gotten jobs. I've gone on dates. I've made friends. I've lost friends. I've attended parades. I've spent money. I've bought groceries. All as a woman. And under the current administration, whatever you may feel about them, they are actively working to undermine people like me, to erase people like me. And I have to call that what it is. It's hate. It's just hate. That's it. It's coming from a place of hate. I don't want to say that. I want to say it's ignorance. I believe in my heart that the common people, the people who voted for this administration, I believe that they really, really, really do not understand. I believe that they think in their hearts that people like me are doing bad things, that we want to burn down their society somehow. But I want to tell you from my heart, nothing could be further from the truth. We just want to be. We're just people. That's it. We're people who happen to be trans. We're not trying to profit off of it. We're not trying to hurt anyone. We're not trying to spread some woke ideology. We're not trying to indoctrinate anyone. Being trans isn't fun. It's not. It's not fun at all. It's a lot of work. Why would we want to foist that onto anybody? We're really, really happy just to be here in our corner of the world, just living our lives. Like me. I don't want to make this kind of content. I teach Japanese. I just want to be who I am without hurting anyone, and without anyone trying to take away my light and my happiness. Because last I checked, pursuit of happiness was a God-given right in this country, and to have people trying to take that away from me, it hurts. It really hurts. Because all I've ever wanted from this life was to just be a quiet woman living my life, shyly going to work, coming home, hugging my dogs, watching TV, mowing the lawn, driving my car. And for some reason, a certain faction of people have decided that that makes me some kind of anathema. And if I'm being honest, I wish I could hug them. I wish I could show them that there's a better way. I wish I could show them that, if I'm being honest, I don't think that this is the way that their Christ would want them to behave. But this is where we are. And this is the life that we have to lead right now. As many of you know, last month, I unexpectedly lost one of my sweet doggies. Her name was Mocha. She slipped a disc in her back. On Sunday, she was fine, but with a little bit of pain in her rear side. But by Thursday, she had fully lost the ability to use her legs. They told me that she would probably never walk again, not without risky, painful surgeries and possibly years of recovery. Mocha was one of the most vibrant and lively dogs that I have ever seen. She had more energy than I can possibly describe to you. She was full of run. She loved to run more than anything in the entire world. She lived fast and she lived beautifully, and she was an absolute pain in the butt. I mean that lovingly. I did not want her to have to go through what was likely to be the rest of her life unable to do the things that she loved most in the world. I didn't want to take away who she was. I didn't want to make it so that Mocha wasn't Mocha anymore. And so I had to make what was likely the most difficult decision that I've ever made. I had to let her go before her pain got worse. It was the right decision, but the hole that she has left in my life is so great. But Mocha would not want me to mourn. She was always running ahead of me on our walks. And I think that she would want me to forge my path ahead with all my heart, the way that she would always blast forward at breakneck speed. She was unabashedly herself. She didn't give a f what anyone thought about her. And honestly, I want to be more like her. I want to be more like her. I want to embody her memory by being just a little bit more bold, by going after the things that I want with a lot more energy than I have in the past. And I would like to be entirely straightforward with you all in this moment. I want to turn content creation into a career. We're not there yet. We might not even be all that close, but I want to grow. I want to chase my stars. I want to reach more people. I want to show people that I am a content creator who is trans. I want to show people that I am a person that is trans. I don't want to be a trans content creator. I never have. I just want to make content. And I want people to see that I'm just out here doing my thing, doing the best that I can, that I don't wish ill will on anyone, that in fact, I love everyone. Everyone. I've never wanted to be famous. I don't want that. I've never wanted to be rich. I don't want that either. But if one day I could get to the point where I could feasibly do this full time, put out content full time, engage with you full time, make you smile full time, well, this is just my opinion, but that would be a wonderful life. And now we come to the point of the video when I'm going to ask for a favor. I won't refer to this as a call to action, but you can interpret it however you like. I know that certain people are going to interpret it positively and certain people are going to interpret it negatively, and I'm ready for that. But I'm going to ask you to do some things for me. Some of them are for all of our benefit, because they're meant to help us through this very difficult time that I honestly find somewhat dark. But some of them are selfish. I'll admit it. I have selfish desires, and one of them is that you'll simply share this video. Send it to someone who needs to hear it. Send it to someone because you think that they benefit from it. Send it to someone because you think that my story will help them. Send it to someone who doesn't understand trans people. Send it to someone who's worried about the future. Send it to your trans friends. Send it to your friends who might want to learn Japanese. Ask them to like and subscribe. Ask them to follow me. Ask them to help me in my goal of spreading love and positivity in this world. Because in the end, that's what all of this is about. It's about modeling decent behavior. It's about modeling love above all else. And yeah, I'm going to say it. I kind of think that that's maybe a Christ-like love. I used to be a Christian. I attended a church for a long time. I attended that church as a trans woman. I went to church. I offered tithe. I gave money. I gave money because it's the right thing to do, and I thought I was helping. I thought I was helping. One day, I pulled aside one of the community leaders in that church, and I said, "Hey, I know for a fact that there are members of this congregation who have children who are queer. And I know that they're scared. I know that they're hurting. I know that they don't know how to process it. I know that they have questions. I know that they're wondering. I know they're thinking in their mind, did I do something wrong? I know that they may be making plans to maybe try to force their kid, their adult kid, their adult gay child to go back in the closet or maybe stop being gay. I knew that in this congregation there were multiple parents of multiple queer children, queer kids, queer adults, queer teenagers. I'm not talking about little kids. I'm talking about people who have already had the ability to make the decision for themselves that they understood what was in their heart, that they were attracted to other men, that they were attracted to other women, whatever it was. And yes, some of them were trans. And did any of those queer people, aside from me, attend that church? No, they didn't. But I did because I believed. I believed, and I thought I was doing good. And so I went to the community leader of this church and I said, let me run a support group. Let me sit down with these parents and answer their questions as a queer woman. Let me sit down with them as a trans woman and help them. Just answer their questions and put their minds at ease. Tell them what my life is like. Tell them that when you allow your child to be gay, when you allow your adult children to be gay, they can lead successful, happy, fulfilling, satisfying lives. I pleaded with that community leader. Let me do the work. I had a binder that probably won't surprise any of you, but I had data. I was willing to sit down with this community leader and say, look, I can make a difference and I've already done the work. I'm ready to hit the ground running. I'm ready to go. And do you know what that community leader said to me? The great irony is that he said, we didn't know you were trans. You're not welcome here. Please don't come back. We don't want your money, and we don't want your help. All I've ever wanted to do was help people and spread love and spread positivity. Last month, I joined a VTuber group, not a company, not an organization, but a group of like-minded individuals who want nothing more than to do a little bit of good in this world. We're called VKind. We're not an official affiliation. We're just content creators who are devoted to compassion, accountability, love, and positivity. We want to work hard to show the world that you can get ahead without being cutthroat and nasty and driven by greed. We want to show you, our viewers, that we care about you, that we love you. We want to show our content that it is governed by kindness, by charity, by outreach. We want to engage with other VTubers with respect instead of paranoia. We want to treat other content creators as our cherished friends, not as stepping stones to get us up that ladder of success. Does that mean that we don't want to be successful? No, not at all. Being successful in this world means having a wide reach. And with a wider net, we can touch the hearts of more people, change hearts and minds for the better, instill love, give kindness, and grow joy. Every member of VKind is themed based on a flower. I'm a Tsubaki flower. And that's because we want to bloom and blossom in such a way that we help brighten the world just a little bit. On Saturday, March 15th, VKind is going to engage in a 24-hour charity stream relay. And this is my second request of you. Let everyone know that we're doing this. Scream it from the heckin' rooftop. Not just my fans. Not just my viewers. I'm not asking you to donate. We're going to be donating to the Trevor Project, by the way. That's an LGBT mental health service that specializes in suicide prevention for queer youth, which is a huge problem. Instead of donating, what I'm really asking of you is that you drop in. Not just my stream during the event, but for any members of VKind that you have the time to support. Let them know that you see us, that you see how hard we're trying to be a positive force in this world, that we want to make an impact, that we want to make a difference, that we just want to spread love and help people. I love these content creators that are in VKind, my fellow flowers. They are wonderful, amazing people who, like me, only want to live their authentic lives and do a bit of good with the time that they have on this planet. They inspire me, and I want them to inspire you too. And that's why I'm asking you, watch their streams. On the 15th, watch their streams. Even if that means you have to miss mine. Carve out a little bit of time in your day and just let us know. Let us know that you see the work that we're doing. And now I want to leave you with some final thoughts. What I want is that you will love like Mocha lived. I know that you didn't get to know her, but she was an amazing dog. I always joked that there is this word moka in Japanese, and it means like a raging out of control fire. And that's exactly the way that she was. That's how she moved through this world. She was a blaze of light. If I could ask anything of you, it would be that when you move through the world, you would do so with that same hot intensity, the warmth of an inferno. Find things that you're passionate about. Find things that you're hopeful for. Hold on to that hope. Hold on to it. Show love freely, even to those who fail to understand who you are, those who fail to appreciate your trauma, your needs, your motivations. Live with fire in your passions and your convictions, not to hurt anyone, not to do harm in this world, not to be violent, not to cause anyone to feel sad, but always, always, always to love yourself, to respect yourself, and to respect others. Listen, the truth is, my truth, is that the vast majority of people in this world, I believe that they are good people. I think most people are good. We might not always see eye to eye, but most people really just want the freedom to be who they are and express the values that they see as most beneficial to their own lives. And there's nothing wrong with that. It may be hard to hear this, but the reality is that I genuinely believe that the greatest evil in this world is the evil of forcing someone else to be like you. And I've never wanted to do that. Not for a moment. I've never wanted to coerce anyone to be anything other than what they are. And yes, I do believe that the world would be a better place if we had more kindness, more heart, more love. But I never want to force anyone to be kind. I think that's why hate is so difficult on me. Because often what we really see happening in the world right now with this anti-trans rhetoric is an attempt by people in power to make everyone else think like them, behave like them, to appreciate their values above the values that we individually hold most dear. And that's anti-American. That can't happen. We have to fight against that. We have to refuse to be coerced into conformity. We have to celebrate diversity of heart, diversity of the ways that we think about the world. We have to come to appreciate that we are all different, and being different is okay. Being different is beautiful. I know I'm just a dog on the internet, but the truth is, I honestly believe that if we can all decide to respect that we are better if we just accept other people for who they are, right or wrong, good or evil, normal or strange, loving or hateful, gay or straight. If we just accept that people are different, and we all agree to love each other in spite of our differences, go our different ways, go about our lives. If we can do that, if we can accept that we're different and that's okay, then maybe we can save the world. That's just what I believe. What I want to empower you to do is to try your hardest to accept people where they are and to value change and progress and effort. I have to believe that people can change. I have to believe that whoever you are, you can be better with time. You can choose to learn. And as a teacher, there is nothing more valuable to me than that. If I see that you're making an effort, I'm going to be proud of you. And maybe that doesn't mean anything. Maybe that doesn't mean anything to any of you, but maybe you needed to hear that. Maybe you needed to have a teacher tell you that I'm so proud of you. That you get a gold star. That you did your best and your best is enough. Let's try to improve the world by agreeing to be open to new ideas. Let's try to improve the world by agreeing to try to learn. Let's stop demonizing other people on both sides. Yeah, I know that's really hard. It's hard to respect people who want to take away your freedom. That's really hard to do. It's really hard to respect people who don't respect you. And if I'm being honest, I don't know that they deserve it. I don't know that they deserve my respect. If what they want most in the world is to take away who I am, maybe they don't deserve my respect. But you know what I deserve in addition to my autonomy? In addition to being allowed to be who I am? I deserve to live my life without feeling like I need to hate anyone. I deserve that. I deserve a good peaceful, harmonious life. I'm owed that. I have been through so much. If you don't know, I've lost a lot. I've lost a lot. I've lost much more than my beloved dog. I've lost most of my dreams. I tried really hard to move through this life with kindness and effort and diligence. I never wanted a hand up. I wanted to get it for myself. I wanted to fight for it for myself. And I did. And then I lost it all. And now I'm losing even more. Because they're taking it from me. They're trying to take away the only thing that I have left, which is my individual right to be who I am, to be who I choose to be. I'm not talking about trans people in athletics. All I want is the right to be me. There are going to be reactions to this video, and I'm aware of that. I'm aware that some people are going to say that I'm hiding behind a mask, that I'm just pretending to be a dog, and that this would be a much more brave video if I was willing to unmask myself. But I'm not. I'm not going to. That's for my safety. Because like it or not, whether or not I want to believe it, as much as I try to walk through this life believing that there is good in people, the reality is that every day I am confronting hate. It is nearly a daily occurrence that someone says something awful to me. And that's just because I have gay flags on my car. You know, they can see it. And because they can see it, they do terrible things. Because they're angry. Because they're scared. And I feel bad for them. And so to the best of our ability, let's try to lead with love. Let's try to love first. Let's try to lead with love. The first step is love. And I hope you'll do that with me. I hope you'll try very hard to love everybody. I hope you've gotten something out of my little discussion here. And like I said, I'm prepared for the backlash. But for those of you who are going to use my words against me, I have to laugh. Because at the end of the day, this entire video has been devoted to you. To my haters. To the people who hate me because I'm trans. Because I'm a content creator who is trans. And if you hate me for that, then listen to the content of this video and understand what I'm saying here is that we want to love you. That's it. That's the central message. So if you're angry that I made this video, I think you missed the point.